I'd like to call the December regular board meeting of the Waynesville School District to order. Would everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Keelan makes that motion. May I have a second? Mr. Schultz make that motion. All those in favor? 5-0. Megan? Citizens participation? Dr. Henry?
Thank you, Mr. President. We had no requests for participation as per Board Policy BDDH.
Written communications? Dr. Henry?
Thank you, Mr. President. We had no written communications either.
Military liaison update. Mr. Bardell?
This is like a standard. I always start it off, so anyway. Okay, just a reminder, this Wednesday, the 22nd of December, or actually this Wednesday, starting at 1400 after school, Santa will be out and about in the neighborhoods on Fort Leonard Wood tossing candy canes. So we asked, and greeting the children, so we asked our families to look for that red fire truck and listen for the siren. It is not an alarm. It just let us know Santa's coming. Also, due to the holiday block leave on Fort Leonard Wood, many of the facilities on the installation will adjust their operational hours. And so while the information is out there and published in a lot of different medias, we ask people to check or call or whatnot before they do visit any of our facilities, because we will adjust operational hours in a lot of your recreation, your PXs and post exchanges. And also on behalf of Fort Leonard Wood, we'd like to offer happy holidays to school board members, the administrators, teachers, and the support staff. And thank you for all you do each day to improve the lives of our youth and children. We really do appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bardell. Thank you. District announcements, Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Those adjusted hours, Mr. Bardell, that means you'll still be in there early and late, right?
I'll meet you in the gym.
Okay, very good. Very good. We have a full house tonight. It's great to see everyone. We have Thayer Elementary here. I know that. We have Piney Ridge here, JROTC, other students receiving recognition. So what a great evening and welcome. Tonight we recognize Thayer Elementary and Piney Ridge Center, and I want to thank each and every one of you for all that you do for our students. I look forward to tonight's CTA Spotlights on Education. The 6th Annual Route 66 Shootout, Pulaski County, USA, will be held Wednesday, December 20th and Thursday, December 21st at Waynesville High School with 7 games in 2 days. Please note that the shootout is not being held on the weekend this year, but on Wednesday and Thursday. The games will start at 4 p.m. on both dates. The cost for admission to each day of the shootout is $5 for adults and $4 for students. Athletic passes, senior passes, and school IDs will not be accepted for this special event. The Waynesville R6 School District will offer a new family welcome at 4 p.m. Tuesday, December the 19th at the Waynesville R6 Administration Building. That's at 200 Fleetwood Avenue in Waynesville, Missouri. All new families are invited to attend. The filing period for individuals interested in running for a position on the Waynesville R6 School Board opened December the 12th. Those interested may file at my office during regular hours, 7:30 to 4 p.m., and they can file up until 5 p.m. on January the 16th of 2018. 2 positions, those currently held by Paul Schultz II and Andy Anderson, are up for election for 3-year terms. The election will be held April 3rd of 2018. Students will be dismissed on December the 20th for Christmas break. Please note that this is a Wednesday and it will be a late start Wednesday. Students grades 6-12 will be dismissed at noon. Students in grades kindergarten through 5th will be dismissed at 1. Students will return on January the 4th. Students will also be off on Monday, January 15th, in observation of Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. As a result, our next board meeting will be on Tuesday, January the 16th. I wish everyone a safe and very happy holiday season.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. Consent items 6A, financials, Dr. Berger.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the MOSIP, $37,484,401.19. CDs with the Bank of Crocker, $10.5 million. In our general account, $1,823,229.10. Payroll account, $5,500.79. The total for December 18th, $49,813,000. $131.08.
Thank you, Dr. Berger. Continuing with consent items, study session minutes from November 20th, a regular board session minutes from November 20th, a closed session minutes for November 20th. I need a motion to approve the consent items as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Keeling makes that motion. Mr. Quinn makes the second. All those in favor? 5-0, Megan. Item 7A, 2017 JROTC U.S. Army Cadet Command Raider National Championship. Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight, we're going to recognize our JROTC Army Cadet Command members. They finished 5th overall in a field of 88 schools at the 2017 U.S. Army Cadet Command JROTC Raider National Championships Mixed Team Division. This is the 3rd year that that the Raiders have placed in the top 5, and the national championships were held in Molina, Georgia in November. Colonel Williams is going to introduce the team members, and when Colonel Williams calls your name, you'll come over and you'll receive your certificate, and then you'll line up right over there and we'll have a group photo. Yes.
Do you want me to announce it?
You can announce it.
Okay. Chris Alvarez. Ty Byram. Good job, Byram. Michael Fry. Jacob Askin. Sorry, Jacob. Christopher Grimes, he's not here. Matthew Jones. Good job, Matt. Ashton Kuhn, also not here. Caroline Pack, also not here. Cordelia Peter. Mariah Stedman, also not here. Andrea Trudell. Cheering section. Liam Welch. Good job. Sean Barrios.
You know, I had the opportunity to come down Saturday and watch that drill competition they had there. I know our kids weren't involved, our students weren't involved, but our students were involved in the operation and carrying it off, and it was really something to see those kids. And just wanted to tell Colonel Williams, it's a great job. Thank you so much. Item 8A, Spotlight in Education, Mrs. Deckard and Ms. Simonio.
The Thayer staff is delighted to nominate Mrs. Dara Fabian and Mr. Jim Wilking for the CTA Spotlight on Education Award this month. Dara began teaching for the Waynesville School District in 2003. She graduated from College of the Ozarks with a degree in elementary education and holds a degree in educational administration from SBU. She has taught second grade for the past 10 years and 5 years in first grade. In her classroom, she makes a concerted effort to build positive relationships with every student and adjust her teaching practices to meet the needs of all learners. Not only is Dara dedicated to her students, but also she encourages and mentors the teachers too. As a teacher leader, Dara has implemented the Walk the Talk meetings with each teacher this year. These meetings are a great way to collaborate, learn from, and help each other as well as build positive relationships. Mr. Jim Wilking is one of our senior members of the building and has worked for the Waynesville School District for the past 25 years as a custodian. Mr. Wilking started his career at Wood Elementary and has spent the last 22 years at Thayer. He builds relationships with students and parents. He goes above and beyond to be a vital part of our building's success. He checks in on students to see how their day is going and from time to time, students earn a chance to help to work with Mr. Jim. He knows most of our students by name. He is dedicated to keeping a clean school environment where all students can learn and do their best work. He is always positive and is a team player to help everyone who enters the doors of Thayer Elementary. His dream is to receive a 4+ rating from Hilliard in all areas of floor care as he continues to refine his cleaning practices. We're honored tonight for Mrs. Dara Fabian and Jim to accept the CTA Spotlight on Education Award on behalf of Thayer Elementary.
Believe Jimmy blushed.
Congratulations.
How senior was that on Wilking again? Is that very senior? Very senior. Okay. All right.
I would like to ask that my entire staff please come up to be recognized at this time. I would like to thank the district administration and the school board for recognizing the staff of Piney Ridge Learning Center. Traditionally, we are asked to nominate just one certified and one classified staff. I can't do that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be struggling to keep this short and brief to be able to fully discuss what we do in our building. First of all, while our district excels at professional collaboration, I would not hesitate to say that collaboration is taken to a far higher level at Piney Ridge. Each day, each hour, and sometimes in between hours, teachers and paraprofessionals collaborate, mostly via email, how students are performing in their class, either academically or behaviorally. They advise their coworkers of potential behavioral problems, student absences, and academic needs for students. The entire staff utilizes lunchtime to review the morning, identify areas of concern, and problem solve how to address the immediate needs of the time. Because our student population is so diverse, it takes a very diverse staff to be able to work effectively with them. Each student in our building can easily identify at least one staff member they can relate to and that makes them feel safe. Building a relationship and trust takes time and an investment in each individual student, but we have found that that is crucial for success at Piney Ridge. One of our driving questions is, how will our students know normal if we do not show them? Piney Ridge staff works very hard to establish traditions, model appropriate family behaviors, and build relationships. They celebrate birthdays, holidays, demonstrate respectful interactions, and model grace in sometimes tense interactions. Did I mention that my staff does all of this and more while we are teaching district curriculum? Over 80% of our students showed growth in both math and reading last year. 9 of our students earned a high school diploma. Our programming continues to improve year by year by adding additional course offerings, providing college and career readiness, and the implementation of student leadership at Piney Ridge. I do have just a couple of letters that students had written. One of our students left last week, and he'd been with us for over a year, and it was a tearjerker for all of us involved. He says, when I first got to Piney Ridge, I was failing all of my classes, refusing assignments, and was a complete mess. That was last year. Now I have an A average, an A in all my classes, and I am a leader in the school. I couldn't have managed it without the help and support of the teachers here. Because they haven't given up on me, I'm a successful student and working my way back to everyday life. The things the teachers do here are unbelievable. I don't think we can get this type of education anywhere else. I believe the school is a very successful place because of its teacher, and it will lead other schools. I thank everybody in this school for being supportive, and I wish them the best. Then we have 4 students who are graduating on Wednesday. They have earned enough credits to finish their high school career. And one of those students wrote, "Dear school board members, I am currently finishing my last semester at Piney Ridge School. I have to say I would not have made it this far in my education if I hadn't had the teachers and paras of Piney Ridge School. To me, they made things possible. The teachers have very big hearts and are determined. They are willing to help everyone, even if we have attitudes or are mean, which says a lot. The school is well managed thanks to the help of the principal, Miss Amodio, and her secretary, Miss Adams. They may not teach classes, but they have taught me so much, from self-regulation to how to stay focused in class. So I feel that Waynesville School and Piney Ridge Center has the best teachers to help students succeed in their education. And to top it off, they even make it fun and they provide rewards. The fun comes when we get to decorate the classroom or school with our artwork. The teachers don't judge our abilities, and that makes us feel very proud. The rewards come on Fun Friday. Fun Friday is at the end of the month when all students who have behaved or completed their work for the month have a chill day and eat homemade food made by the teachers. I am so happy I came to Piney Ridge because I got to meet all of the wonderful teachers it had to offer. One thing I would really like you all to understand is when our kids come to us, they're an emotional wreck most of the time. They have forgotten how to smile, and when they leave us, they've found their smile again. And that is probably the best reward ever. In closing, each member of my staff is absolutely amazing and makes a difference in the life of a child every day. Thank you again for your unwavering support and belief in our students.
Thank you, Mrs. Amodio. It's a nice addition to our district to have that school there. 9A, staff recognition, Mrs. Bales, second quarter project teach award.
Thank you, Mr. President. Project Teach is sponsored by Seller Sexton Auto Group. Seller Sexton Auto Group will donate a $100 stipend to Chris Kramer and Mark Finger to support expenses related to their project's materials and supplies. Mr. Finger and Mr. Kramer are teachers at Pick Educational and Volunteer Facility. Mike Freeman is here tonight to award Mr. Finger and Mr. Kramer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bales, and a compliments to that group that was just recognized, because that's giving back to our community and making a major difference, and that's out of sight. And that's why we're here tonight to recognize also 2 great teachers, Mark Finger and Chris Kramer. Mark?
That's Mark.
Mark, Chris?
I won't be speaking tonight.
All right, well, step on up here. I'll speak for you then. Come on up if you would. I'd also like to say a special thank you to the district. I'm wearing a second hat tonight as the honorary chairman of the Salvation Army Tree of Lights campaign. There's been so many groups from the school district who have volunteered their time to ring the bell to help us raise our goal of $80,000 to make a difference in kids' lives and folks' lives. And that's what exactly Salvation Army does. And that's what you do as teachers and administrators. Never forget that. It's not just a place to hang your hat. It's not an office door with your name over it. You're making a difference in people's lives. Never forget that responsibility. I don't care what part of the district you work in, whether you're transporting the kids, teaching the kids in a classroom, on a ball court, or working in the maintenance. It doesn't make any difference. Everybody has a responsibility, and you make a major difference in folks' lives. Tonight, we'd like to recognize two of those teachers you have chosen to be your project teacher of the for the quarter. Let me share with you about giving back, and I love this group as Mark and Chris have put together a leadership class, and this participation was involving all years. Let me read to you, as I always do each quarter. Students participate in an hour of service learning each week during their leadership class. Students get the opportunity to complete meaningful service both to PIC itself but also to the surrounding community. Students are placed in groups by recycling, PIC beautification, snack in a pack, tutoring to elementary students, or learning business retail skills through working through the PIC snack cart. Participation allows students to build character and become active citizens. Recycling. Students create a plan to gather recyclables throughout the school. The items are weighed and sent to the appropriate recycling areas. The PIC beautification. Students help with the appearance of the school through planting flowers, creating posters, or in other ways to make it their own. Snack in a pack. We all know what snack in a pack does. The students help stock, they inventory food, they create packs that are then distributed to the students for the weekends and the holidays. Tutoring. Students visit Williams Early Childhood Center and teach short lessons to those students. And then a snack cart. Students create inventory sheets, they determine price, and track sales as they learn about sales and profits, and I'm used to that. If awarded the $100 stipend, the money will go towards helping these students grow in their leadership roles during their service learning time. So examples would include they'll purchase plants or paints for the PIC Elementary beautification project, the teaching materials for tutoring, retail items for the snack carts, sales, books, cash register, etc., or any additional items to aid with areas in service. So you see, it's just not just about the classroom. It's expanding, making a difference to our community. So these two gentlemen tonight are being recognized as your second quarter project teacher award. I do have a check for $100 to help with that beautification and all the other projects you have. Mark, for you, sir. Chris, for you. Join with me recognizing gentlemen for a great job. Well done.
Mark and Chris, thank you very much, and appreciate your hard work. Thank you, Mike. Item 10A, Waynesville Middle School construction update. Dr. Berger.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll ask Don Husband to come up and give us our monthly update.
Good evening. It's always a treat to come up and show the progress that we're beginning to see over at the middle school. Let me begin by some photos that are that were taken toward the end of November. They're dated the 29th. There are just a couple here. This is apologize for the darkness of this, but you can see that the stairs are beginning to go in, and sometimes they're a little difficult to go through the building without those, so they're coming in. This is a little bit of an unusual photo. Some of you may recall, but we elevated the floor of the library, and that shows that elevated floor area. And the reason that we did that, some think that there was a mistake there, but it was done intentionally, and that is so that we can get more space or room directly below the library, and that was in the cafeteria. So that's taking place, and I believe now that concrete floor has been poured. This is sort of looks like we're back on site again, and in some respects we are. If you recall, the foundations for the physical education wing were the last to be constructed and then infilled, and that was a great deal of granular infill where those trucks are sitting. That's about four. Well, it's probably a little bit higher than 4. It's probably 5 or 6 feet above the finished grade off to the left there. But it's beginning to move forward very quickly now, and the orange markings that are just below between the two trucks are markings on the ground to where the plumbing will start to go in. Masonry also started in December, and that's kind of a treat because that's sort of a trigger that, hey, this building is really going to get done. The black walls indicate that the waterproofing is going on the building, and that's a waterproofing and a thermal barrier. And I think we have a couple of images shortly that show some of the masonry going on. This is a view down one of the main corridors. A little difficult to see, but let me see if I can't point out some mechanical units are beginning to go in, and again, a little difficult in this image, but the sprinkler piping is beginning to go in the corridors and such. So again, all of the infrastructure is beginning to be placed into the building. Here we are. This would be the east elevation of the building facing the football field, and you can see now that it's beginning to get all of the masonry on it. It will match the 6th grade center to a T, and when it's complete, it will all look like one comprehensive and cohesive school over there. The roof membrane was going on. This is kind of an interesting process if you've never seen this. The membrane goes down in a very large, you can almost see those, the roll. I'll go back. I'll go to the next one here. It shows a little bit more. But that's the actual roof membrane, the gray material that's kind of rolled up, and then that's getting ready to be installed. And once that's down, then we'll have a watertight condition up on the roof. This is a view from the internal courtyard. You can see the Waynesville Metal, the existing building in the background there, and we're standing on the 2nd floor looking out into what will be the courtyard. And I believe that the masonry is all continuing. It's hard, again, to tell, but that's all of the, let me back up there. That's all of the brick stockpiled there, and then the big lift brings it up, and the masons install it. View from the north. I believe the next slide shows a couple of others, and again, the yellow board is the exterior sheathing board that goes up first, and then the black material is that waterproofing and moisture-resistant barrier before the brick is installed. That gives a pretty good shot. We probably won't ever see that once the physical education wing is erected. That those foundation walls are right here. So once that portion of the building goes up, we won't see that portion, at least from this direction. But if we move down to the western end and look backward, we'll certainly see the back of the middle school. This is the west end of the building, and this was purposely constructed last so that they could access the building and do all of the work inside the courtyard area. So now the west end of the building is finally taking shape, and the upper level there is the library wing, and the lower level is the cafeteria, and all of those walls will all be glass walls, so they'll have a wonderful view out toward the west and in the area that I think if we look at maybe the next slide shows what will be the entry, the western entry into that wing. I think that's the last image. It is. Can I answer any questions about the school? Okay, thank you.
Might mention we brought Ms. Sumter hosted DLT last week, the district leadership team, and Mr. Pritchard took us on a tour and generated some excitement among our leadership staff regarding the building. We had we were in the building, and I was hit also by several middle school teachers who said, when can we take that tour? And so Mr. Pritchard may be working on that to take even a bigger group through. But we did take the WCC students, probably, Dr. Passon, 50 students through. So we could probably accommodate at least 50. So we could probably accommodate running our staff through maybe sometime in the future.
Great. Okay.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you for the report. I know as the building moves along, a little more anticipation and a little more excitement, and it's really good, really good. 10B, Volunteer Program Report, Mr. Whalen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would also like to thank the Board of Education for allowing me to speak on our program's behalf about a lot of the fine things we have going on, as well as Dr. Henry and the cabinet here. So thank you guys so much. We have many goals going into aspects of things within the Community Resource Office for not only 2016-17, but also this school year. I wanted to share a few of those before I got started with the data that we have. Those focus areas included member retention and recruitment within our grant-supported programs. So you hear me speak on that quite a bit tonight. Sustainability within our existing VISTA projects, and just making sure that our VISTAs are not only starting the projects, but getting them to a point where they become sustainable even when the VISTA steps away from the project. And then an increased level of member support at all levels, including our AmeriCorps State as well as our VISTA programs. The CRO managed grants continue to be AmeriCorps State and National. That particularly puts our members in the school buildings where they tutor pre-K through 12 in most instances. Our main areas of improvement are looking to help out with deficiencies in reading and math in those areas as well. We have our AmeriCorps VISTA members, and they are looking to help not only within projects related to the school district, but also outside projects within the local community. And the main thing, again, as I said, was to build capacity and sustainability within the programs that they begin. Our VISTA Summer Associate Program is a 10-week program that takes place in late May and goes through early August, and again allows us to get some additional volunteer support and also getting a lot of college students that come home to the area an opportunity to get some funds in their pocket for continued post-secondary education. So great program as far as that goes, and that is an extension of our VISTA program. Army Youth Programs in Your Neighborhood. That program, the main objective there is to provide funding for after school, mainly at the secondary level. The managed funds, and this reflects the 2016-17 school year. The amount of funds that we have managed related to the programs are $1,541,982. It's also important to note that we did receive graciously $400,000 from the district to continue running the after-school program efficiently and effectively, and that's in lieu of the funds that we had lost through 21st Century, and then also APIN was almost cut in half in terms of that aspect of things. As you will notice, under APIN we had $350,000 available to us. Unfortunately, we were only able to get $262,500. That goes based off of attendance numbers related to those active duty Army students that are participating in our secondary after school. Fortunately, we do have a plan for this year where they are allowing us to do check and connect with those students to be able to supplement some of those additional funds so that hopefully we can bring in the full $350,000 this year. If you look in the second column there, education awards, and this is all grant funded, and again shows you what a positive attribute these programs are for the individuals within the district and outside sometimes. They were able to accumulate $320,640 in post-secondary educational funds through the Eli Siegel Education Award, and that just allows them at the end of a successful completion of a term of service to get an education award that can go to their post-secondary educational goals. And then district cash match, as you can see, obviously within receiving these funds, federal funds, they want to make sure that the district has some buy-in as well. So we had contributed $159,479 to that aspect of things. CRO managed staff, you can see throughout the longevity of the Community Resource Office there, 2008 up to the present. I'm going to focus on 2016 and 17 and also discuss projections for 2017 and 18. If you will notice, 2016-17 we had 4 individuals that we had in an administrative capacity within the Community Resource Office. That number is projected through those individuals that receive not necessarily member service stipends, but grant funding for those roles, and that will maintain for this 2017-18 school year as well. If you look at the AmeriCorps aspect of things, in 2016-17, we had 72 AmeriCorps members. 2017-18, we're projecting 45. One thing to hit on in terms of that is we did have a lot of turnover last year. As I said, just making sure that the retention rates are where they need to be. That's one of our point of emphasis for this year, and we'll get into a little bit about what we did to hopefully keep that number a little bit more manageable in terms of that. As far as Vista goes, very comparable. 29 Vistas last year, 27 projected for this year. And again, it was a little bit higher last year because we did have some turnover in that regard. Our Vista Summer Associates, or our VSA program. Last year we brought on 68 VSAs. This year we project to bring on 68 VSAs as well. They help out mainly in the month of June within the district doing tutoring or sometimes helping out with some clerical office work. And then in the month of July, we do go ahead and send them out into the community to help out in that aspect of things. Our Club Tiger After School program, 2016-17, we had 15 individuals. As I had mentioned last year, we brought in certified staff within that structure to go ahead and assist with things like discipline and promoting the academic piece. As you'll notice, projection for 2017-18, we're up to 19. That is because we added East Elementary as a site. We were unsure if we'd be able to continue with the high school with the staffing that we had, but I'm pleased to announce that yes, we did continue with a restructured version of High School Club Tiger as well. So we didn't have anything fall off, and we were able to add an additional elementary site. Our AmeriCorps State and National program. 2016-17, we had 2,851 students tutored district-wide. 96.6% of those students demonstrated improved academic performance, and that is typically based on district assessments, the STAR assessment, where they started in the beginning of the year and where they started in the end of the year. Now, we're not naive to think that that is 100% AmeriCorps. We know that they get the majority of their academic gains from the classroom, so we are working with an AmeriCorps consultant right now to figure out how we can see what the direct impact of AmeriCorps is on the students. So we're working towards that. 72 members spent over 60,000 hours tutoring and leading after school activities. That's 833 hours per member. To put that a little bit more into perspective, a full-time member throughout their service term will serve 1,750 hours with us, and a part-time member will serve 925 hours if they want to successfully complete that term of service. Our VISTA program, which stands in Volunteers in Service to America, as I had said, the main goal is to build capacity and eliminate poverty within the community. We have several district programs and focus areas, after-school programs. Last year we started an intramural program, and that is one of the best aspects that I can point to in terms of sustainability. That actually has been taken over by Club Tiger this year, so the VISTA that started that stepped away completely, and it is still running without VISTA support. So that's the main goal of the VISTA program. After-school programs also include curriculum that is being created by two current VISTAs for our elementary and secondary sites. And the main thing is to promote academics and enrichment in that capacity of things. College and career readiness, we continue to work with schools to do mock interviews. We continue to create information for students regarding FAFSA, how to apply for scholarships, where to find scholarships, so on and so forth. Snack in a Pack program, which had already been highlighted once tonight. That is a program that helps students who may otherwise go hungry on weekends or long breaks to get some food. 350 was the highest amount of students that we helped last year, and then we averaged 300 throughout the course of the school year. And it's important to note that that is 100% fundraising and donation driven. So again, anybody that may be out there listening, we appreciate the donations that you may have sent on our behalf and for the students' behalf. volunteers, students, and retirees. We continue to send out volunteer opportunities through our Better Impact system. Anytime that there is a volunteering opportunity within the district, we encourage school administrators to let us know so that we can send that out through Better Impact and hopefully get them the ample amount of volunteers that they need to run their event or project successfully. We had also started the Rocking Chair Read program last year. We are continuing with that program, and that's just a program that we hope will put retirees and senior citizens in front of our students so that we can go ahead and make a link between them as well in an academic setting. Service learning, that's something that's big at PIC. Our VISTAs have helped out with several aspects of service learning. The main one being a recycling program for our alternative school, as well as the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, which was recognized last year at the state level. And then we also helped out with a freshman day of service for the high school on one of their testing days. Tiger Leadership Camp continues to be something that we offer during summer school. The curriculum for that was VISTA created, and we again hope to bring some sustainability to that program as well as time goes on. The Community Garden. We have found some sustainability in working with our Master Gardeners program here in the community, and we appreciate their partnership and everything they've done to continue to maintain that. We do have an Adopt-A-Box campaign where anybody within the community that might be interested in adopting one of the boxes in the community garden can fill out an application and can do so. And if you are interested, please reach out to us. And then resiliency and at-risk youth leadership. We have an AmeriCorps Vista member who has done a fantastic job in reaching out to the Non-Commissioned Officers Academy in coordinating different resiliency and at-risk youth leadership opportunities for our students. They went to the confidence course this year, and I thought that was very successful. And again, that was something that was coordinated through our VISTA programs. Our community sites for 2016-17 include the Armed Services YMCA, the Chamber of Commerce, the City of Waynesville, the Community Foundation of the Lake, Dixon School District, Plato School District, and the ARC. And it's important to note that they do pay a quarterly fee of $750 to have the services of the VISTA within their site. And the community sites for 2017-18 include the American Red Cross, the Boy Scouts of America, the Chamber of Commerce, the City of Waynesville, Kaleidoscope, Plato School District, and the Waynesville Rural Fire Department. So as I said, we try to find a balance amongst the school district and our community sites. AmeriCorps Vista retention, we'll start there at the first column there, AmeriCorps. Last year we had a 62.5% retention rate at the end of the year. Year to date right now we have a 91.6% retention rate. That 1 out of 3 CPC, that's a compelling personal circumstance, meaning in that instance one of those 3 individuals that are no longer with us didn't really have a choice in the matter. They had a spouse that was leaving the area and was in the military. PCSing. So the percent change there was 29.1%. Our goal was 80%, and at the end of the year we'll continue to be 80%, and we're well on our way to achieving that. AmeriCorps Vista, 58.6% in 2016-17. Currently it's at 95.5%, and again, that one individual that had left our program year to date left for a compelling personal circumstance. So that's an increase of 36.9%. The contributing factors implemented a tiered living allowance scale for AmeriCorps. As you may or may not know, the living allowance that they do receive is minuscule, so we felt that those that return to our program should be rewarded in some way, shape, or form. So we did create a tiered schedule that would reward them in that aspect of things. We shifted our program focus to one of quality of members rather than quantity of members, and I think that has gone a long way. Added an additional VISTA leader to assist with community sub-site support. So we currently have 2 VISTA leaders who do a fantastic job. One focuses on things that are going on within the Waynesville School District. Another focuses on those sub-sites that you had seen in the previous slide there. And then we also had an administrative intern, Ms. Cogdill, who has done a fantastic job and has definitely done some things that I was unable to do last year just because of a time standpoint, that has promoted additional support within our program, meeting with the members, making sure that they feel supported, making sure what they have, or making sure that they have what they need to be successful. So that has also contributed to the positive retention rate there. Vista Summer Associates, not to leave them out, but we had a 94.1% retention rate last year, and we hope to maintain or increase that this year. Volunteers, number of registered volunteers from 2015-16 to 16-17 did decline, but in a positive aspect of things, the number of hours that they actually volunteered increased. So hopefully that tells us that they're getting involved in more than just one activity, such as a field trip or anything like that. Hopefully they're coming back multiple times to help within the district. We do have our annual volunteer awards. And pleased to announce that we had 2 gold presidential awardees this year. That's 500 plus hours within the district. So 2 gold awardees. We had 8 silver awardees. We had 11 bronze awardees, and we had 2 bronze group awardees, in which the group contributed 200 to 499 hours as well. And I believe both of those were PI partners. After school enrollment, one thing to hint on this, last year when I gave my presentation, just looking at the numbers, we were projecting that our attendance of 30 plus days at that time was going to be 118. It actually was 165, so that was good in that aspect that we were able to pull that up for the second half of the year, and we'll continue to do that as we move on through the second half of this year. At the middle school and the 6th grade center, attendance of 30 plus days was 114. At the high school, attendance of 30 plus days was 116, and on average 395 students within the district attending the after-school program on a daily basis. It's important to note that that reflects activities related to Club Tiger, not necessarily SOS or AA activities or academic assistance activities. Moving into after-school academic assistance, if you'll notice, we did have a slight decline in each of the levels, K through 5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12, and also had a decline in the total amount of students receiving academic assistance throughout the course of the year as well. As a summary, for 2016-17, we managed 3 grant programs, which includes APIN, AmeriCorps, and AmeriCorps Vista, and then also we managed district volunteers, and then, and I'm sorry that got cut off there, district volunteers as well as the Club Tiger program. And then that was at an annual budget of $1,541,982. We managed 188 staff members at 10 schools and 7 communities and within 7 community agencies. And then as an update for this year, within PIC Educational and Volunteer Facility as a whole, we now coordinate all Club Tiger supplies from PIC EVF. That actually allowed us to open up some of our AmeriCorps positions to be able to help us out in that regard, and also a little bit of Vista assistance as much as we can without providing direct service in that regard as well. We moved all of those supplies over from Freedom, and that was a huge Vista project over the summer, is just inventorying and making sure that we were being good stewards of the money that we have and not buying things that we may already have in stock. The addition of the larger gym has allowed us to host professional development for service staff, service learning for secondary students as well, and then maintaining partnerships with youth recreational organizations. As we speak, MWR Youth Sports is using the facility tonight and plan to use it through March, as does Fort Leonard Wood Youth Sports. So we appreciate the efforts in opening that part of the school open to, or making that part of the school open to us. AmeriCorps, we project a significant increase in retention for the 2017-18 school year due to increased member support, as well as just some strategic planning on our end. In the Vista aspect of things, we'll continue to recruit qualified candidates for both district and community site placements. We've expanded our recruitment and marketing efforts to include monthly Vista member spotlights. I would like to thank Ms. Ward also, I have the mic, for getting those into Tiger Tales in a timely manner. We really appreciate that, and we get a lot of positive feedback about those stories that are run about our CNCS sponsored programs. And then also responsibility within the subsites for recruiting purposes, for reporting, and for timekeeping, and so on and so forth. After school, the Club Tiger After School program has expanded to include East Elementary this year. We continue to run sites at Freedom in the middle school, and due to limited AmeriCorps support, we did restructure the high school Club Tiger, and again, we are still receiving good participation at that level as well. Any questions?
Just one quick question. When
Sure.
you talk about the projected decline in the AmeriCorps in 2018-19, is it due to just the lack of people volunteering, or just funding, or What do you think?
You mean the decline in the number of individuals that we have?
I think it was your third slide. At one point, you had 70 at 1 or 2. And then you
72, down to 45.
Down to 45.
Yeah, so the way that members were brought on previously, they were put in half-time positions, which would
Right.
sometimes be supplemented with things like 21st Century Learning or APIN. Unfortunately, with those programs going away, we don't have the flexibility to do those half-time positions, and we've been, I won't say forced, but we've moved into more of a full-time position effort for those individuals. So whereas, for instance, this year we have 33 MSY or member service years, also could be explained as like an FTE. We are utilizing the majority of those for full-time positions. We do have some individuals that come on that get in part-time positions or minimum time or quarter-time positions, but the main reason for that is we've lost those additional supplemental funds to be able to do that like we had in the past.
So if funding is restored, then I'm assuming slots will be restored as well, as was half-time, part-time.
If we were able to do that, yes.
And thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no
it.
problem. Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Whalen.
Thank you.
Item 10C, District Wellness Program, Dr. Washington.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me present on wellness, and it's not only for students but also for staff. And I'm going to present some of the statistics from our health risk assessments today, or tonight, I should say. Health risk assessments are conducted once a year. If an employee participates, then the district pays the entire premium for base coverage, which is $477.37. If an employee chooses not to participate, then they are responsible for $30 of their medical premium. So let's look at our results from our 2017 health risk assessments compared to our 2016. First, before we go into that, for 2017, we had 63% of our staff members complete the online questionnaire, and we had 92% complete the biometric screening. We also had 34% who were eligible for coaching because they were in a moderate to very high risk category. Some of our risk parameters that were set forth by Cox, there you can see is the low risk area, so someone would have to fall within those parameters to be considered low risk. We have a borderline area as well, and then we have a high risk area. And then as far as tobacco use, we had 0 staff members who reported a greater than 10 cigarettes per day use. We had 16 who were less than 10 cigarettes per day, and then we have 12 chewing tobacco users. So let's look at our comparison. For 2017, we had a 92% rate, and our goal was 85%, so we met that goal. We have 71% females. I think we know we have more females in our district than we do males, but we do have 29% of males who participated. The average age of our staff is 43.1, and then it breaks down the different ages from under 20 up to 60 plus. On our biometric screening risk for 2017, we had 6% of staff who were reported with high cholesterol, which is lower than the national norm, which you can see on the far right. 5% were in the high blood pressure range, which is lower than the national norm. 18% pre-diabetes. We had 6% who were diabetic. We did have 29% who were in the overweight range, and that looks at body mass index of 25 to 29.9. Some of the areas where we were over the national norm, we had 49% of staff in the obese rate. That's a body mass index of 30 plus. And then we were right at the national norm for high triglycerides. We were at 13%. So overall, with our metabolic syndrome, that's looking at 3 plus indicators. We are right at 15%, which is under the national norm. As far as the personal health assessment, only 6% of staff reported no regular physical activity, which is really good because the national norm is about 27% report no physical activity. 38% are having physical activity 1 to 4 days a week. 36% reported a low fruit and vegetable intake, which is much lower than the national norm of 72%. 18% are moderate fruit and vegetable intake, and then 10% of our staff members are in that desirable fruit and vegetable intake, which is lower than a national norm of 72%. So let's look at some of our risk results. Hip to waist ratio is one thing that's calculated as a possible risk. For males, that ratio has to be greater than 1, which we only had 8% of males in that category. And for females, it's greater than 0.8, and we had 58% of our females in that category. And then waist circumference is also looked at as a risk factor. For males, it would be a 40-inch or greater waist, which was 15% of our male staff. And for females, it's 35-inch or more, which is 46% of our staff. So looking at our risk factors, so body mass index we know is definitely an area that we're going to look at and do initiatives for this school year. So high risk, we were at 49%, and it talks about ways to lower the body mass index. 29% of staff were at moderate risk, and we did have 20% of staff who were at low risk with the BMI of less than 25. Blood pressure and blood glucose are things that we also look at. So systolic blood pressure, which is your top number when you take your blood pressure, we had 48% who had a healthy less than 120, which is fantastic. 39% were moderate, and we only had 12% who were in the elevated range. The diastolic blood pressure, which is the bottom number when you take your blood pressure, which is a very important number because it actually looks at how long your heart is resting. 62% were healthy. They had less than 80 on that bottom number. 31% were moderate, and 7% were greater than 90. With blood glucose, we had great numbers. 76% were healthy. They had a less than 100 fasting glucose. 18% were elevated, and 6% were considered high, which is greater than 126. So for hypertension, that was another area that was flagged that we're also going to take a look at. We had 76 employees who are diagnosed with hypertension, and 55 of those are taking hypertension medication. 12% were considered high risk. We had 39% moderate risk, and then we had 48% low risk, and that was on systolic, and then you can see the diastolic numbers are there as well. With diabetes, we have 24 employees diagnosed with diabetes, and we have 15 taking medication, and like I said, only 6% of our staff was considered high risk, which was greater than a 126 fasting glucose. Our cholesterol panel, I won't read through all of it, but we also did very well. Total cholesterol, healthy is less than 200. That was over half of our staff at 64%. And then it broke down HDL and LDL. Triglycerides, healthy is less than 150. And we had 74% of our staff hit that. And then when you look at the triglyceride HDL ratio, healthy on there, we had 73%. So great numbers there. So total cholesterol, 65 employees diagnosed with high cholesterol, 27 are taking medication, and we only had 6% at high risk. So overall, Cox Health put together our demographics. We had great participation with 92%. Risk points are calculated for each area, so you can see based on where you're either at a 0 point, a 1 point, or a 2 point, and those are our risk factors. Total risk, so 79% of our staff is at low risk, which is very good. 14% are moderate risk, and 7% are high risk. So our risk factor rankings are things that we need to focus on when we do our wellness initiatives. And as you can see, with hypertension, that's definitely an area that we need to look at, which regular exercise and a normal weight were some of the things that can be risk factors. And body mass index was also an area that we'll need to look at moving forward. Some of the wellness initiatives I'm excited to talk about. I have the pleasure of running a district-level wellness committee. We meet quarterly to address wellness CSIP goals and indicators. Every building now has a wellness committee in place, and wellness has been added to our comprehensive school improvement plan, our CSIP, for staff as well as students. One of our indicators for our CSIP is promoting healthy social relationships within the school community. We are addressing this by adding school social workers to our district. I've kind of been looking to see what grants are out there. I was able to find one with our local federally qualified health center in Richland. We now have 2 full-time school social workers. One's actually an LPC who will be starting at Freedom Elementary in January at no cost to the district to work on building healthy social relationships for our students. We also contract with a school worker, a social worker teletherapist through MSBA who runs individual and group counseling at PIC as well as other schools. And we are piloting an evidence-based social emotional curriculum through our counseling department called Second Step, which has had much success at other districts to help address those social needs of our students. With Healthy Habits for students and staff, also through a grant, we're very excited about in January adding a full-time nurse practitioner. She'll be running a school-based clinic out of East Elementary. She'll be able to work with staff and students and write prescriptions. We plan on utilizing her expertise to do trainings on healthy habits throughout the district, to look at things that we talked about like the hypertension and the body mass index. Her salary and all of her clinic supplies will be paid for through the grant at no cost to our district. And then other activities that foster emotional awareness for the school community. We've been doing ongoing training with Dr. Melissa Maris on trauma-informed care. She's presented to the building level wellness committees in October, and she'll be back in January to continue the training. Our goal is to move forward to be a trauma-sensitive school district to best meet the needs of our students and our staff members. Some of the reasons why we do what we do: we want to bring mental health services to our students right here in our school district. 1 in 5 school-age children show signs or symptoms of a mental health diagnosis. 80% of them do not get services to help, and we want to provide that right here within Waynesville Public Schools. Rates for having at least one major depression episode are typically higher in Missouri than nationally, and there's some statistics there from the Department of Health and Human Services. I appreciate all the support. When I is replaced by we, even illness becomes wellness. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Dr. Washington. It's really a real nice report, and as one that takes care of his health now, it's really important that teachers do that and everyone does that. So it's really, really good.
Yes, thank you.
I wished I'd have done that about 10 years ago. I wouldn't be in the shape I'm in now.
I always like to hear a wellness report during the holiday season, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10D, Fall Sports Report, Mrs. Scott.
Hi, thank you. I kind of conned a couple extra people to stay a little late for me to increase my audience size. So I have over here, I'm going to jump ahead to this slide right here. And just to give a little bit of context, 1 year ago today, I sat in about this same place, addressed you all, and looked at you and said, if Morgan is not an all-state softball catcher, I don't know who is. And I want to applaud Coach Turner, because last year there was some integrity issues with voting, in our opinion. And Coach Turner started contacting with what Morgan had done on the year from about a week before the season was even over. She finished the year with .643 batting average. She had 12 home runs, and the only thing stopping the one at Willard from landing or still being in the air was the scoreboard. She hit it on a line drive. It was the most amazing hit I've ever seen at a softball game. She had 59 RBIs on the year, which is the second most in the history of Misha for softball. 12 home runs. Even a bigger thing, her defense. Those of you that know, you watch baseball, softball, you look at the catcher. Opposing teams only ran 15 times on Morgan. And they only ran 15 times on Morgan because she was going to throw them out if they ran. She threw out 80% of the runners on the year. Which if you watch much softball, you get somebody on first base, and the first thing that they do is try and get to second, get in scoring range. So want to recognize tonight, this is our first ever Waynesville High School softball all-state athlete. She was first team all-state catcher this year. She was Ozark Conference Player of the Year. She was first team all-district, pretty much first thing, everything. But the big deal is finally you know, she said, fine, I'm not All-State last year. I'll show you by even upping everything that I did last year. So, and I guess something even more important, great kid, great parents. We're really going to miss her from our softball program. So I'd like to present Morgan Loggins.
I'd also say, Coach Scott, I'll say another great stat she has is, as a dad from a freshman softball player, she was very outstanding to all the young kids, where it's very intimidating for them freshmen coming in here, and she stepped right in there and did great things with them too, so thank you.
We'll back it up here a little bit. Go through our 2017 Fall Athletic Department report. Oh, I'm sorry. Those were all supposed to be in line. All of those team GPAs, really exciting this year. Want to bring your attention, every one of our varsity team GPAs had a GPA above a 3.0 average. We had 256 high school athletes, 198 middle school athletes, and those numbers are down just a little bit. As a reminder, academic all-conference 3.7 and above for first team, 3.5 to 3.74 honorable mention. We had 31 fall athletes. Athletic awards, those were updated a little bit to the PowerPoint presentation you had because some all-district awards came in. We had 17 all-conference, 21 all-district, 4 all-region, and Morgan again as all-state. Picture up there, right there, is Victoria Hooker. On Friday afternoon, she signed to play collegiate golf for William Woods University. She qualified for the state meet. She is an awesome example of a student athlete here that came in and she made herself by listening to coach, had very selfless parents that took her everywhere. She had a lot of practice. She used the course out of Fort Leonard Wood, and she used our membership to the level that I wish all of our kids would, and she showed it by improving and getting all the way to not only the state meet, but also a college scholarship. Highlighting again, just want to highlight our 4 department goals: professional development, which is ongoing. We want to continue to push for Tiger Performance Training, our community outreach, and academic support system, which is new for this calendar year. We had great crowd support at games this year. That was a homecoming crowd. If you came to games, our student body has been excellent this year. We really want to applaud them. We'll be inside starting for the shootout on Wednesday and Thursday, so hopefully that continues and that growth and that positive motivation continues moving. We've had great community outreach for the fall. Excuse me. And that's a picture of Coach Jarman's there in the middle. She's covered up by shadows. But out at our cross-country meet on Piney Valley, the 787th Military Police Battalion came out, helped us a little bit. It always ends up being hotter than it should be in October for our cross-country run. The soldiers did an awesome job helping us at the finish line, grabbing kids that are exhausted, keep them pushing forward. We've had great PI partner support. We've had youth soccer camps at East and Freedom. Jackie Stiles came down again last summer for a basketball tournament that she continues to do in coordination with Coach Matlock. Track and field had a youth camp and an elementary track meet, and tennis, USA youth camps, tournaments, and Coach Wilson was named again this year the USTA Our Region Volunteer of the Month. Something new that I want to highlight, which was great. I want to thank the Rotary Club, Dr. Henry and Andy Offit, for this involvement and this offering. Monthly, we have been sending 2 different sports teams to the Rotary Club meetings. They've been, I think what the kids say is the best part is they've been eating free lunch, and they're getting out of school for about 2 hours in a day, but they're really getting to talk to our community, meet our community, and Andy said, we want to see everybody. We want every one of your teams to come. We're taking about 3 or 4 kids from each team. It's been a great experience. That's our tennis girls and our soccer boys from their meeting. This is a picture of the Stampede in the Park that we had this fall. It was our 15th annual Stampede in the Park. 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, we had 482 runners there. In order to qualify, you have to run the mile at the national fitness qualifying time in order to be eligible. I did not look up that time because I didn't want to be embarrassed. This is a picture of our soccer camps, and this one was from East. We had one a little bit later at Freedom. I want to thank both principals, Renee and Carrie. We learned some lessons, but we hope to do this again in the spring to try and get more involvement. Excuse me. Kind of a dark picture, but that is our, thank you, our youth cheerleaders. We had 275 youth cheerleaders come out, and it is 275 of a mass of humanity. All of the volunteers, I don't want to try and name them because I'll forget somebody, but we thank everybody that comes out and helps with this and all the parents. That's a picture of somebody's son that wouldn't mind going up there for the track camp. For those of you that don't know, that's my little boy out there doing hurdles. This is an awesome service project. Not exactly athletics, but I want to highlight on the good work being done. The 9th grade mentors came together. You probably read about it. Mary Ann sent out an awesome press release for the pocket flags. The 763rd Ordnance Company we're deploying. We also met with our PI partners, 787th and Police Battalion and a 3010th Infantry Battalion. And our freshmen made pocket flags for the military personnel on the front lines. And the idea was to fold the flags, write personal messages on the flag. Excuse me. Write personal messages on the flags for them to take with them when they deploy. It was a really great project, and I think we're planning on doing it again at the January 30th Wrestling and Basketball Hoops and Mats Extravaganza. Another great thing that happened this fall, this is our 10th anniversary of our state championship. And the boys came back. It was really nice if you were in the cafeteria to see the kids' reaction. You know, some of the kids flew in for this, drove in for this, saw old coaches, saw each other. It was just a great moment and a great time for them to be together. Tiger Performance Training. We've serviced over 350 kids at our peak this fall. Different sessions that were delivered on top of the normal session: football, volleyball, softball, tennis, soccer, cross country. We instituted, sorry, I don't know what happened. We instituted an APRE lifting for in-season and varsity athletes. This is to calm the feeling of, hey, I can't lift, it's game day. Well, you can lift, we'll just drop the weight down. We'll just do higher reps, lower weight, go through the range of motion, make sure you stretch out, make sure you don't just say, I can't lift today, I can't do anything today. We've seen good results. For the first semester, we kind of retooled, revamped, started over. We've seen an average increase of 7 pounds per everyone's bench, 4.5 pounds in their clean, and 12.62 pounds in their squat. That's male and female athletes together. We're headed for a good direction. We had good improved gains. One of the things I want to talk about or highlight in this portion is this Tiger Strong and our PI partnership. The 787th Military Police Battalion has had a great working relationship with us. First Lieutenant Robbins stated, we've created a mutual understanding and appreciation for one another, talking about the student athletes, lifting, and the military police regiment. We hope to fight toward a common goal, constant improvement and good attitude. I've started seeing individuals competing with themselves. They're doing what is right without anybody watching. I want to thank Ms. Long. She let us do some neat things this year with pulling them in classes instead of just at 6 a.m. or the after-school session. When you see it, it's great. The military personnel are jumping in, working out with the kids, sweating with them. And the best thing is, after the workout, they always sit around for about 3 to 5 minutes and they talk to our kids. And they talk to them with some sort of a leadership discussion, whether it be goal setting, pushing through, being mentally and physically prepared for everything that life throws at you, and even when you're not ready for that life to throw it at you. And the goal behind this, the concentration, is on creating good students, community leaders, good husbands, good wives, just individuals with character. So I want to thank our military partners, our 787th Military Police Regiment coming in. It's great. You know, it's that, sometimes I've always heard of it as that 100-mile rule. You know, you have to have somebody 100 miles away to come in for people to believe it. Well, this gives our kids, you know, those guys are on post. Those guys are out there like my mom and dad, you know, they are, you know, backing us up with things that we're saying. So it's been a great relationship. Here is one of our baseball signees. Early in the year, we've had 3 signees on the year with Victoria also, that I didn't have a picture of her because she was just Friday, and this was done a couple weeks ago. And then last thing, our academic support system. We had committee meetings set up this fall. We had coaches, administration, and a couple board members. We have a skeleton proposal put together. That has gone out to all of our coaches in the district for feedback. I've asked for feedback by the end of this semester, and then we will get our academic support committee back together after we start the second semester to figure out how we move towards implementation within our programs. And that's our softball girls over at Williams for our last little thing, fit well with this because they read to the students over at Williams Early Childhood. And for me, that is everything, unless there's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Good report. 10E, proposed job descriptions. First reading, Mrs. Bales.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following attached proposed job descriptions are presented for your review as first reading. 4.09.4, Assistant Secretary, District MISHA Activities and Principal Secretary. 4.20.1, School Custodian. 4.20.3, School Head Custodian. 5.3.1, School Resource Officer. 5.3.2, Security Guard. The administration will request approval at the regular January meeting of the Board of Education.
Thank you, Mrs. Bales. We enter into action items. 11A, 2018 Music Insurance Renewal. Dr. Berger.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. A couple of things to report, and I know the board has a general idea of the structure. We belong to Missouri United School Insurance Council, also music, self-insured consortium. So instead of paying out premiums to an insurance company and being fully insured in that aspect, we pay premiums to a pool. Claims are paid out of that. The board is made up of school superintendents across the state. Catastrophic policy for large claims is purchased on the side. For the last few years, I've been reporting that there are about 350 school districts and community colleges that are members. It's not a huge motive for them to grow the consortium. They really like the size of the consortium, but that group has grown to 400. And this year, we are realizing a 7% credit. And that actually is, I did the math just on the fly here, a $5,134 less premium than last year. So we don't get to say that very often. But so administration recommends motion to approve the Missouri United Insurance Program renewal for 2018, please.
Thank you. Have a motion? May I have a motion? Mr. Keating, make that motion. Second, Ms. Schultz. All those in favor? 5-0. 11B, proposed job description, second reading, Mrs. Bales.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following attached job descriptions are presented for second reading. 2.22.6, Assistant Computer Technician. 3.18.2, School Nurse. 4.8.3, Project Bid Specialist. 4.8.5, Payroll and Benefit Specialist. 4.8.7, Executive Secretary Instructional Services. Administration requests approval of the above named job descriptions as presented, please.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Quinn makes that motion. May I have a second? Mr. Schultz make that second. All those in favor? 5-0, Megan. 11C, MSBA Board Policy Update, second reading, Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had several policies in the technology area that we held back a month and went through first reading last month. I received no questions, so we are now recommending these for approval.
Have a motion to approve MSBA board policy and procedure updates. May I have a motion? Mr. Daring makes that motion. May I have a second? Mr. Keelan makes second. All those in favor? 5-0. Megan. 11D, proposed course description book changes for 2018-2019. Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attached are recommended changes to the Waynesville High School course description book, which was submitted by Mrs. Long, the high school principal, and the Waynesville Career Center course description book. These were submitted by Dr. Pattison, Director of WCC. If approved, these changes will become effective with the 2018-19 school year and will be utilized in the upcoming scheduling process. These were presented last month for your review, and we are requesting approval of the proposed changes.
Motion to approve proposed course description changes as presented. May I have a motion? Ms. Schultz makes that motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Keeling seconds that motion. All those in favor? 5-0. Megan. 11E, proposed course description book changes for 2018-2019. Waiver the first reading. Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. These are additional changes that are being proposed for the Waynesville High School and Waynesville Career Center course description books. These changes are being made to break up some of our 3-hour courses into 2-hour and 1-hour courses to better accommodate student scheduling needs. We did not bring these last month as these changes were just proposed through their buildings, so we are requesting a waiver of the first reading and requesting approval of the changes as presented.
I have a motion to approve the proposed course descriptions as presented. Mr. Keeling makes that motion. May I have a second? Mr. Quinn seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Megan. 11F, proposed 2018-2019 school calendar, second reading. Mrs. Bales.
Thank you, Mr. President. The proposed calendar for the 2018-19 school year is attached for board review. Calendar options were publicized on the district webpage through October 31st, 2017 for public review and comment. Administration is requesting approval of the proposed calendar at this time, please.
I have a motion to approve the proposed 2018-2019 calendar as presented. Mr. Daring makes that motion. May I have a second? Mr. Schultz seconds it. All those in favor? 5-0. Megan. 11G, district surplus property. Dr. Berger.
Thank you. We will have another surplus in the spring for all the principals and directors that might be in attendance thinking they missed out. But we did sneak this one in, and it includes Lot 108, Crimson Development Y Highway, some books that were culled through the K-5 realignment, and a 1978 truck that's been with us a long time, but we really meant to hit that surplus last year, and we missed it. We're going to go ahead and sneak it in now with another surplus list forthcoming.
Motion to approve items as surplus property for disposal as presented. May I have a motion? Mr. Quinn makes that motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Deering seconds it. All those in favor? 5-0. Megan. 11F, FEMA shelter architect RFO approval. Dr. Berger.
Both these will need separate approval, but I'll speak to both of them. I've reported to the board recently that we were notified by FEMA of a notice to proceed for our next FEMA application. We don't have any positive or negative news on that, but that was a positive for the notice to proceed. The question came up in October 17, 2016. We had approved for our architect for that project and our project manager. And so the question came up, did we have to do that, go through that process again? And there was no really, we never got a firm answer, yes or no. And so we concluded that to play it safe and to not mess up the application, we would approve that. Those contracts are unchanged. It's presented in the exact same format. It was October 17th in 2016. So the first being, if I get caught up here, motion to approve entering into an architect engineering agreement with DHA for a potential Freedom Elementary FEMA shelter.
Motion to approve entering into architect engineering service agreement with Dixon Hudson. Mr. Keenan makes that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Schultz seconds it. All those in favor? 5-0. Do we need to do 11I now?
And we do, thank you.
All right.
As a separate approval, administration recommendation to approve entering into a project management services agreement with Toth and Associates on the Freedom Elementary FEMA shelter.
Motion to approve entering into project management services agreement with Toff and Associates on the Freedom Elementary FEMA shelter. May I have a motion? Mr. Keeling makes that motion. May I have a second? Mr. Quinn seconds it. All those in favor? 5-0. Megan? Before we go enter into closed session, I just want to briefly comment on a few things. We've had a good year. The school district has had a good year. We've got great staff and administrators and teachers, support staff and parents and kids that make this district what it is today. Without each one of them, we couldn't be the district that we are. In reflecting on the accomplishments, some of the accomplishments this year, our voters passed Proposition 1, the tax levy. With these funds, we're able to get more computer in the hands of the students. We have increased our security by adding school resource officer at East and Freedom, along with adding a new security cameras at the high school. As part of Prop 1 was the Waynesville Middle School project. Federal B2 heavily impacted aid. While it was an inconvenience today, I know a lot of people are looking forward to moving into that building when it's ready. It will be a much modern facility for the students and staff. You know, we as a board member, along with this community, have so much to be grateful for. On behalf of the board, I want to thank everyone and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now, I get to read, we're going into closed session. Closed session, closed record, closed vote to followed by RSMO 610.021, Section 2, Real Estate, Section 3, Hiring, Firing, and Disciplining of Promotion of Employees, Section 13, Individual Personnel Records, Performance Ratings. May I have a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make
Mr.
that
Keelan
motion.
makes that motion. May I have a second? Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
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 Yes. We are now recessed into closed session.